Alrighty, guys, it is 3:30 this Tuesday, March 4th, and we have got one heck of a market, don't we? Look at that. Finally, a bit of a pullback. That was a relentless grind to the upside, man. So that's the update. We were talking about the market potentially failing here, looking at the potential move to the downside. But man, look at them. These guys grind this whole thing all the way up here to 58.70s. Right up here to that area of resistance, the 70, almost up to the 80s, before they finally, in that last half hour, I guess, got knocked the shit out of it. Man, that was something, right? So at this point, I mean, it's anyone's guess where they're going to go. It looks like a pretty good move to the upside, but I mean, as you can see here now, the elevator is coming down here. So these guys they squeeze to the upside, at least seems to be over, and look at them just leaning into it. So we'll see. I mean, at this point, probably starting off with a slight bias to the upside. If they can hold this line here, if they can hold, man, well, let's see. Actually, they had to get up above that 58.60s. So, I mean, we're going to have to start from the short side. But we look for early strength. So we're looking for retest of these highs. If they can get up above that 58.80, yeah, we'll take off the short bias and start thinking, okay, maybe this is for real. But this retracement feels very much like a squeeze to the upside. And even if it's pretty freaking spectacular, hopping on the long side gave you a couple of nice trades on the way up here, for sure. And now but you can see how fast that turned around on the way down there. So we'll see if this was just a half hour kind of shift kind of thing. We'll see if they can hold the line. But I would be looking at if they hold this line, the 58.20 and the 30s. At that point, I would probably be looking for early strength. If they can't hold that, they trade below it. Me, it's going to just stay on the short side on this. So pretty violent right now. I mean, you can see my chart is not keeping up right now. There's so much volume coming through. So pretty crazy. So I did a few trades on the Nasdaq. I'll show you those. But for the ES, it depends on if they can hold at this 58.30. Then we'll look for early strength. If they can't, if they take that out, starts trading below it, it's going to start from the short side and look to sell strength instead. But at this point, it definitely looks like they are trying to move this. Man, let me see what it is. 58.33 is where they're at right now. Yeah, so they're down here, kind of fighting with the 30s right now. But you see that it's just kind of holding on here, having a very difficult time keeping up and processing all these ticks. But 2.7 million contracts on the full size, 1.9 on the micro ES. That's pretty freaking crazy, guys. Pretty crazy. News for tomorrow. News for tomorrow. We get the mortgage apps at 7. We have ADP at 8:15. PMI composite at 9:45. Factory orders and ISM services at 10. Oil report at 10:30. Yeah, so we got news at pretty much all morning. 7, 8:15, 9:45, 10, and 10:30 we have news tomorrow morning. So fair amount of news coming out tomorrow. But I mean, it's all about the tariffs right now. It feels like the market is very, very, very volatile and it's all over the place. So we had a pretty good sell-off this morning, then complete retracement across the whole freaking range, all the way back up here to the overnight highs, and now they're pulling back pretty hard. But as you said, I mean, watch these areas, the 20 and 30s. If they can hold above that, we're going to be looking for early strength. Still looking for short setups, though, until they take out that 58.80s. So that's going to be the key. If that comes out, then yeah, then we have a shot at maybe seeing a recovery here. But one day a retracement like this could just be algos running this back and forth. So we'll see how that pans out. Looking at the bonds and the Nasdaq, and here I'll show you. This is Nasdaq for you, right? So I took a couple of trades on the Nasdaq. I waited until they came up here towards the 560, 590s, and this is up in this upper area, right? 590s. So they started running it right up here into this upper area. And this is late in the session, right? So you're looking at the 590s. First trade I took when it looked like fine. Squeeze. Now it looks like they're failing. Looking for a little squeeze to the little rotation down. Got in one contract, repaired it once, and these guys just knocked me out. It didn't quite high tick me because it took it even higher. But I was like, and that little trade there was like $160 in the hole, right? At that point, I tried another long trade, pretty quick on it because they moved pretty good. Went to break even, had maybe $30 going on that thing, and then it retraced and stopped me out, and then ran it all the way down here again. I tried another long trade, figuring, okay, so the short side is just not there. Long trade, and they went back and forth, shook me out of that trade. Tried another long trade, shook me out of that trade. I tried a short trade later on, and that is the 630s, and that's when it comes up to the to this area, right into this resistance area, and it right when M period kicked in. So this is between 11:30 and 12 o'clock. So 12 o'clock runs kicks in, and usually you see pretty good retracement, and we did have one. I mean, you had a pretty good retracement all the way down here to the 600s. But I got so I was, and this is this move here. I was in a pretty good trade, and I thought it's gonna have we were gonna expect something more like this, but nope, that wasn't time yet. So I got another $10 out of that. So I had one losing trade and four small winning trades. I'm still down $120 on that. So that's how much volatility that is. So a much bigger trade than you want, but that's kind of how big you have to make it if you want to be able to trade it. Anyway, so they squeezed it higher. I didn't re-engage it anymore, but you can see here once they run into that last push to the upside, and then you see what happened. And this is kind of what I was looking for over here. It felt very much like we had a shot at doing that, but it wasn't quite yet. It took another half hour for them to get into that. So I took the shot and it didn't work out. But then I had like four trades, and they got less, a little bit of each, shaking out, because it's just too volatile. So it says my stop is that this little trade here, my stop was right below that little bar there. So it's like, yeah, it's way too tight. But anyway, I managed four winning trades or shakeouts because they're not winning quite, but it's kind of frustrating. But there you have it. And now it looks like they're retracing this pretty good. So that's the kind of move I was looking for over here, but it didn't happen. So at this point, if they can hold these support areas, trade back above the 560s here, they hold the 520s, and I kind of had to be above the 560s. We may have a shot at looking for some early strength. But we'll see if they're going to just run this lower. Well, it's anyone's guess now. The last half hour, the sell programs are definitely back on again. And look at how violent this is. This is just crazy stuff. So nothing I can trade. This is just trying to get on this one. It says fool's errand. So when it looks like this, you have at least a shot. It's not super volatile like this. It goes back and forth like 100 ticks in no time. So you can be right and just keep getting shaken out. So there you have it. So we'll see. I'm bummed I couldn't catch that thing. That would have been awesome. Finally, oil and gold. But I would stay depending on where they are on the Nasdaq. If they're above the 560s here, I would look for early strength. If they trade below the 560, 520s here, and I would just be looking for weakness instead for on the short side of this. So we'll see where they end up closing. So anyone's guess. But at this point, it looks like they're going to try to squeeze this on the downside pretty hard. So look how violent that is. That is like 680 down to the 5, like 200 points on the Nasdaq right there. So wow. So that is like, what is that? That is freaking 40 ticks. That is like $250 on the one contract. That's how big that is. Crazy, crazy stuff. Finally, oil and gold. So gold, as I said, not doing anything. That's going to run out of gas. So that's what that one is doing. Not much to say about gold. Just trade it. I will trade it from the long side until they take out that 29.10 or 29.05, these two support areas. So looking to buy weakness on gold. Probably looking for an edge here at around the 29.20s, 10s, and down to the 29.05s, rotations back up. And on oil, just looking for some early strength. Look for me, look that can run it back up here, retrace these single prints, trade back up to the 69s again. That would just be trading up in the range on oil. So not much really to work about on that one. But man, that is some crazy stuff. So at this point, I would just look for just a little bit of strength to get short against either the 68.50 is kind of where we are, but 68.80, 69.20 for rotations back down again. So that's where we are on oil. So I'm not going to be too aggressive on oil or gold, but ES and NASDAQ, look at these guys. So they're right back to the mean again. Let's see where they end up here. But that mean comes out. We already below the 30s, and it's challenging the 20s. So below the mean, bets are off. So we'll see if this was just a shakeout, and we'll see some strength, something like recovery here, or they're going to keep going. So crazy stuff, guys. Very much a crazy day. So anyway, so a few trades, 6 round turns on the NASDAQ, 1 trade loser, and then 4 more trades, which were just pretty much shakeouts, and that was about it. So, and I'm not going to engage it when it's volatile like this. I took a few shots there, and that was it. So And that just tells you how volatile it is, and you just have to make the trade bigger if you want to trade it. And if you're wrong, the loss is just going to be a little bit bigger. So, but anyway, we'll leave it there. I'll see you back bright and early in the morning, and we'll take it from there. All right, guys. See you in the morning. Later.